academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
If you want to get in the game, come to Miras Sports and More.
Back here at Miras Sports and More in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hey, we had a little internet glitch here within the facility, but we are recording this. We'll put it live a little bit later on, and its full content will be available for fans to tune in. We've had some good visits with some coaches. Right now, Scott Malone joining me and traveling about, covering the baseball team here at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here. This is awesome. Miras is South Texas sports. This is it. We're in the home right here. This is it.
There you go, Coach.
Yep.
I came off a tough loss last night. We said we weren't going to talk about that one, but let's talk about the season heading into what you got for your next couple of games. You've had a good run already in the early season.
We have. So we're 8-6. Just real quick recap: won 2 out of 3 at UT Arlington. It was a great start for us. Came home for 2 games with Texas with the Longhorns that we talked about a little bit. Number 1 in the nation, Longhorns. Those guys loaded. It goes without saying. They have great teams every year, year in, year out, great teams. This might be the best one they've ever had. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys do the next couple of months. But they came in, Whataburger Field, handled us the first night pretty easy, 12-0. And then the next night we had a great one with them, 5-4. Gave them our best punch, gave them a good run, a good crowd, so fun game. And then we have a big tournament weekend too. Iowa from the Big Ten came down, Wichita State, big name program, Pepperdine from the West Coast, and we took 3 out of 4 from those guys. So kind of got us going right there, feeling in a good spot. Took 2 out of 3 last weekend from Stephen F. Austin, another good team in Texas. So feel like we're going in the right direction. Prairie View this weekend, we'll see how it goes.
One thing about it, when a coach is talking to players about, hey, you need to play for me, the one thing that every coach wants to look at is what can I say that, or what can I show that the player has the ability to get seen in bigger and better games. And you do that 2 ways. First of all, the first scheduled game is one thing. It's getting teams to come back next time and next time because they know the quality that you're going to have on the field is what they want to play against. And, Coach, that's a credit to the program. And your kids have got to be excited when they see the schedule and see these teams are playing.
You know, you're exactly right. You got to put a good product on the field. But at the same time, we talked about it when we started this. You know, we're sitting here at Miras. This is South Texas baseball and sports. And then you get to Whataburger Field and us having access to Whataburger Field. I can call any college coach in the nation. I can call UCLA, Florida State, Nebraska, all of them. And they'll all consider coming down here because of the venue that we have, because of the weather that we have, being a beach city. So you're right. When we recruit kids from South Texas, I'm talking to those guys about, you guys are coming to the Islanders to try and help us beat Texas, to help us beat the Aggies, TCU, Baylor. That's what kids want to hear. Coach, when do we play Texas Tech? I want to beat those guys. That's right. You know, so we're bringing in kids, D1 level, to beat the best, you know, and play the best. So it is a big deal. It's a big part of our program.
Continuing on from there, after you play against that type of quality, then when you get into the quote, meaningful games in the conference, the experience has got to have you through the roof ready to go.
Honestly, I always thought it was a cliche, you know, like you start heavy, take your licks, and then you're ready. Last year, it played out like it never has before. We were 5-20 and really on the skids and trying to tell ourselves we'd played a tough schedule, but still you're 5-20. We start conference play, we go on a 20-4 run. Like I'd never seen anything like it. And, of course, everybody, like you said, well, Coach, you prepared them. You know, you played this crazy tough schedule early, and it actually worked out. And our kids were over the top confident when we hit that stride in the second half.
Many times coaches are talking about my players when they start having one of those kind of seasons. Well, my kids knew what it was like to lose, and now they know what it's like to win. And so in a game that becomes meaningful down the stretch, they know the difference. They know what it takes to get to that next level, and that's what you get. Talk about your season coming up. You talked about what's happened so far, but it's not by any means over. It's getting going.
No. So home series with Prairie View this weekend, and then one of the biggest, kind of most aspiring spring break trips I've ever been a part of. We'll leave Corpus on Monday and bus up to Fort Worth. Tuesday night, play TCU. It's as good as it gets. It's going to be a big crowd. That's my alma mater. I played there, so it's going to be a big deal. We'll stay up there Wednesday, play Tarleton State, kind of an up-and-comer in the state. Thursday, we get on a plane in Dallas and fly to Omaha, Nebraska, bus over to Lincoln, play the Cornhuskers Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then get up Monday morning, bus back to San Antonio, bus back to Corpus. But 7 days, TCU, Tarleton State, and a 3-game set at Nebraska. It's as good as it gets. It's going to be fun.
Spring break what? There is no that's not a spring break. That's a spring road trip.
And the other thing, I think we're going the wrong direction. Spring break, you're supposed to go south and get warmer.
You'll wave at buses
we're
as they
going
go
up.
by.
That's right. We're going up. So, but going to be great for our guys. Our guys are excited. You know, Nebraska, obviously, big name, big cachet program, Big Ten. Go and catch TCU on the way up. It's going to be a really big trip for us. And it's kind of that one last chance to see, man, where are we? How good's this team going to be before when we come back and we get into Southland Conference play?
And then based on the run last year to close out the season, can you see a difference in the approach of your players this year, saying that now they maybe can not necessarily have fun, but it is fun to play these games and knowing that this benefits us?
You use the word fun. I'm going to use the word maturity. Well, you can see it. You can almost smell it sometimes. Just those guys, their expectations for themselves are higher. They don't use the word upset as much, and they talk about being on the same field with Texas. They're not worried about those guys. They feel like this is a team we should match up with. So I think that is what winning brings about. That is what kind of culture and playing those big teams, it accelerates the maturity of my guys and the mindset of thinking they're going to win.
Another thing that's a benefit of playing here, you're in a baseball hotbed as far as the high school level. So as you see your team succeed, how does that trickle down? Obviously, it has to.
Sure it does. Yeah, baseball in the entire Coastal Bend is as good as it gets. And I don't have to tell people that. People know. When Stephen F. Austin came down to play us last weekend, I checked in with their coach, and they were all out of the hotel. They were all out watching games, and they had the Miras Classic last weekend, big tournament in town. And that's the thing is there's so much good baseball around us that, forget having to drive to Houston, drive to San Antonio. I don't have to do that. I drive 10 minutes, and I can go watch 3 D1 guys play. And I tell you what's exciting is as good as it is in town, I'm already seeing 2024 grads, 2025 grads. We got a couple of guys circled already. I'm seeing freshmen make their mark at the highest level of high school baseball. It's fun being in this city, I can tell you that for sure.
Note parents, note players. It does start to happen that early in your career, and it does mean that much to start excelling and doing the right things to prepare yourself to play the next level.
For sure.
Again, Coach, talk about a plug here. Fans that want to get tickets, fans that want to come to your games, anything we can throw out there that'll help them there.
Yeah, for sure. Go to our website, goislanders.com. Really neat field on campus. And I don't mind, I've been in Corpus for 15 years. Some people will still ask me, well, you got a field on campus? Yes, we have a field on niche. Got a big berm behind left field. You can drive your car right up and park right there on the berm. We've started selling beer on the weekends at our games, which I know some people might be into a cold beverage while they're watching games. So
at college level, yes.
That's right. So, but really neat place to watch baseball. And obviously, I know we've had a little run of some chilly weather, but more often than not, 75 degrees, and you can't beat being right there on the beach where we are and watching baseball. So, going to be a fun weekend. Night game on Friday against Prairie View, 2 o'clock Saturday, 1 o'clock Sunday. So, baseball all weekend.
Good baseball, too. Coach, thanks for the visit.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, go Islanders. We'll be back after this. We'll wrap it up here from the Miras Sports and More on our Coaches Show on a Wednesday on Real Sports Live.
Customized for you, your family tradition, from generation to generation, from Pee Wee to the MLBs. You can count on us, your hometown sporting goods store since '76. Miras Sports and More, where kids get cool stuff.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets.
Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
LEAD has relationships with multiple industry leaders. Whether you're looking for project-based work or long-term employment, you decide. Our industry-skilled jobs include industrial, marine industries, oil and gas, commercial construction, and renewable energy. We offer work close to home, so you can spend more time with those you love. LEAD Staffing, putting people to work and changing lives daily.
If you wanna get in the game, come to Miras Sports and More. Basketball gloves and uniforms too, customized for you. Your family tradition, from generation to generation. From Pee Wee to the MLBs, you can count on us. Your hometown sporting goods store since '76. Miras Sports and More, where kids get cool stuff.
Back here on Rio Sports Live, we're at Miras Sports and More in Corpus Christi, Texas. Miras Sports and More, one of our advertisers here that has been assisting us in broadcasting the games. And when you're sitting here talking to college coach after college coach after college coach that says, and we watch the games, we watch the games, we watch the games. We know that we've got a network of colleges out there watching our games, my friends, and they're also watching us not just during the high school. During the summer, perhaps we get busier, even more so than in the high school, and we do appreciate everyone that's here. And Miras Sports and More is one of the advertisers that assists us in doing this. Speaking of that, Matt, back for another visit. We visited last week. Let's talk about what's happened in a week here at Miras.
Well, since the last time we've talked, we've had a great tournament between the girls' Bayfront Bash and the boys' Miras Classic. A lot of great softball from our local surrounding community. And we did have a lot of out-of-town teams, so that helped out bringing some more talent. But general, it was an awesome weekend. I definitely enjoyed seeing most of the games to be playing on Rio Sports Live, seeing the commentators well-spoken. It was just some great advertising and some great baseball and softball being played.
Corpus Christi Veterans wins on the boys' side. Bishop Girls wins on the girls' side. And some would say, well, that's no surprise. We kind of expected that. But again, it was an exciting tournament. And again, another one for you guys to notch and say, we just keep building and getting bigger every year.
That's definitely what we said. Some great baseball, softball. Yes, Vets, definitely a good baseball team. Bishop, one of the state-ranked teams. They always come with a good program. But, yes, definitely great tournament. Another one to add to the belt. And that's what we just said after the end of it. It was a great show-up.
We talk here from Miras Sports and More. And, I know you guys are here year-round for every sport. But I know baseball and softball is a big part of the year for you guys. So talk about the things that are gearing up and what is in-house right now for people to take advantage of.
Yes, sir. Our storefront is generally baseball, softball. It's primarily because baseball, softball never stops. You do select ball, and that runs all year long until high school baseball, softball starts. Then a lot of these students will transition to their school sport, but it is nonstop. So we got to make sure we cater baseball, softball, because they got to have a store to go to that won't run out of something. But we do cater baseball, basketball, soccer, football, but those are more your seasonal sports. But nonstop baseball, softball is a tournament thing in South Texas, and every weekend you can go somewhere and there's someone playing.
And when you're talking about cater, you talk about cater to the player, because I see bats, I see gloves, I see individual tools that are needed for the game, and I also see the catering to the coaches who need to get those uniforms ready for those travel teams. You guys got it all.
Yes, sir. We do have our retail floor, and we do have 6 salesmen that will sit down with any coach and do team uniforms. And then we have our retail floor, so individual players can come in and get what they like, what they prefer, and what they want to play with.
Special order, no problem either, right?
No problem. We don't have it, we order it, and we'll customize it.
All right, Matt, thanks for the visit.
It was a pleasure.
That's Matt with Miras Sports and More. That's going to wrap up our show. Again, we thank all the coaches who took their time out of the day. Some of those were on their way to practice as we speak. And again, we thank for Miras for being here. Matt, thanks for being a part of our show. And until next time, fans, for Miras Sports and More, this is Joe Bowling for Real Sports Live. Kevin Naro, Rudy Zamaripa Jr. behind the scenes, and Joe Gomez assisting and coordinating the event. Till next time, so long.